Zed wakes up. And he says, "Give me beer." Ah, that's the good shit, Richard. Welcome back to Seeker and Confessor, a Sword of Truth podcast. This is episode 11, and I'm Frank.
And I'm Lauren.
Today we'll be covering chapters 16 and 17.
All right.
All right.
Well, for my introduction, actually, I'm not Lauren today.
No.
I'm somebody else entirely.
So, not Lauren. Who are you today?
I'm Adie.
Adie. The Bone Woman.
The Bone Woman. And she has a particular way of speaking. She's kind of like Yoda or something. I be having me bones. Oh, she's kind of... Yeah, you're right.
She must be Chase's mom or something. I was picking up on something there.
I be having bone magic.
She be having bone magic. The magic of the bones.
I think this is, honestly more accurate than it should be, considering other than the bones, I didn't buy any of this. I just had it.
To be fair, most of it we had for this very podcast. We're just repurposing.
No. Oh, well, yes. Yeah. This is repurposed Zed's robe. We did not buy this for the podcast.
You're right. That's true.
We just had this. And this is, maybe more glamorous than what Addie's hair was described as.
But I'm not sure.
But this is if she got a full set of extensions or something.
There was not a single description of how luscious her locks were, and we don't know.
But they said that it was a bob. A short bob that showed off her angular jaw.
What kind of haircut is that?
What do you mean? It's
I feel like it's a pretty cool haircut for a lone woman in the woods.
I guess she's cutting it herself.
She must be, and she does a good job. Part of the magic, probably.
Yeah, so anyway, that's the only part of this that's not book accurate. But I looked up the woman on the show, and she had very long hair.
Guys,
so
here it is.
If they're allowed to make that call, I think we in our low budget podcast
absolutely
are also allowed to make that call.
It's multi-source accurate.
Yeah.
It's inspo, it's hairspo, it's bonespo.
Bonespo, yeah, we have all the bones.
Big bones.
Here's the bonespo for you.
Got a little,
I feel like I'm in Addie's cabin right now.
Do you? Do you feel protected from the
underworld
monsters?
The underworld monsters cannot find us.
They can't even see your ass.
No.
You're invisible. And I feel like I'm getting healed just by being here.
Exactly.
Cool.
And I should also have whited out eyeballs.
We're going to do that in post.
I thought about it, but I don't know if my editing's quite advanced enough.
It's just a white bar over your eyes, the whole time, it's just poorly tracking you.
I'm just gonna have to try and import a TikTok filter for our whole 1 hour episode.
We got it, no problem. Put Shrek behind me and cover your eyes.
I thought for a brief second about buying contacts, but I've never worn contacts a day in my life, and I'm kind of scared. And I've heard that those are uncomfortable.
That's a humble brag about her perfect vision, but it's okay.
2020, baby.
We'll keep moving.
I guess I'll get us up to speed, up to where we're at in chapter 16.
Because end of 15, we were having a nice little snooze.
Yeah. And we left off with Richard and Kaylin at the Dirty Inn with Bill, the innkeeper, and his love-struck son. Mm-hmm. And they had maneuvered their way out of the dilemma with the horny men.
Yes.
And they were just sleeping.
Until
right. Actually, we know that Bill knocks on the door.
Yes, that's true.
Before chapter 16 begins, Bill comes barging into the room. And he tells them 2 men have arrived who are asking for Kaylin. Mm-hmm. And we know that it's the men from the quad. And this is not the OG quad, because I guess they're all dead.
OG quad's dead. Second quad.
The second quad is the one that Zed sent the Gar to murder.
Which, pretty good.
Yeah, he got 2. Okay.
2.5.
And Bill describes them as big men, thick necks.
Oh, I'm glad you wrote it.
Blonde hair, good looking, armed to the teeth.
Bill's just struck Bill's just like,
everyone's talking about
two
how hot
of the
they
hottest
are.
fucking guys just walked in. You wouldn't believe it, but they're looking to kill you.
Yeah, weird. Why are they so good looking? Is that required to be in a quad?
Stacked, hot, thick neck. Don't fuck with me. Don't even look at me. Bill said, I was nervous to look at them.
So he basically explains like what went down. There was a brawl.
There was a brawl. Big old brawl.
The guys from the quad were asking for Kaylin, and Bill's trying to like say she's not here or whatever, but they don't believe him. They are deciding to go upstairs to see. Mm-hmm. And the horny gentlemen from the previous night don't like that because they're like, no, that's not your girl. If it's anybody's girl, it's our girl.
Yes. As a group, they decide that.
Right. And they get into a big fight. The redheaded man that we said reminded us of Tormund from Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
He slits one of the quad's throat, so clearly he's like pretty strong.
If you remember correctly, though, that member of the quad had like one arm totally mangled from the gar. So he was kind of like injured already.
That impressive.
Yeah. Okay,
and then the other one killed like a ton of people, and then he just disappeared.
Yeah. How strong are these individual quadmen?
Well, that just like sounds like magic. But
it does.
Are they magic?
We don't know. Not yet.
You don't remember?
No.
I don't remember.
I don't think they are, but they might be. I don't know.
Well,
yeah, I feel like in the later books, Terry really like draws back who's magical. I feel like it's like only a select few people got really strong powers, and everyone's just a regular dude.
Yeah, okay.
But is the quad imbued with some sort of magic, or are they just like Aryan race killing machines? We have yet to find out.
Yeah, I don't know. But anyway, either way, they killed a ton of people. Mm-hmm. And it's definitely like, they talk about it later, but even before that, when I read it, I was like, oh, like, look, see, the red-haired guy kind of like saved them in a way.
In a way, yeah.
So it's like kind of like Gollum, right?
You're gonna have to walk me through that one.
Because Sam's like, kill this little fuck. He's like, you know, he's annoying, he's rude, he's gonna like betray us.
Yeah.
And then they're like, no, we don't know what role he has to play in the story.
True.
And then lo and behold, him being there was the reason everything went okay. So it's exactly the same with this red-haired man.
Fair, but it almost didn't go okay.
Well, later. Yeah. But okay.
Gollum.
Okay. I don't know.
I'll be thinking on that.
You don't have to like it.
I don't hate it.
I feel like it's the same message where you're like,
oh, it's the Gandalf and the Moria message?
Yeah, exactly. Like, who are you?
Who are you?
Although, that's kind of confusing, though, because the whole point of Richard was like, actually, you do have to decide.
He is the who are you. I'm
who
him.
Are you?
I am him who says now.
Yeah, you pick. So, although he doesn't, though. Even by the end of this chapter, he doesn't. He kind of does, but he doesn't. We'll get to it.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll see.
So Bill's like, get out of here. You got to go to Adie. And
oh, wait. And so they get the horses, right?
Oh my God. You want to walk us through that?
So they're like, okay, start gathering up the horses. And this is another parallel to Lord of the Rings. Bill is just like Bill the Pony. Because his name is Bill.
And he's like such a good guy.
And he's such a good
guy. And then they have to leave him. And they have to leave him behind.
And they leave him behind.
Before they go in the mines, which is basically the Narrows. Oh, you know? Okay. You always have to leave a nice guy named Bill
behind before you go on your underworld journey.
That's what this is telling us.
Holy hell.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Weirdly enough, though, this is following a bit of a Lord of the Rings type pacing.
Yeah, don't you think that's just like the fantasy?
Is this the hero's journey? Are we describing the hero's journey?
Go talk to Joseph Campbell, okay?
I'll ring him up, but
I think
he never returns any of my emails. They go to get the horses.
Yes.
Bill's like, Randy's working on the horses. We're going to slip out the back. Richard's like, thanks, dude. Yeah. Totally cool. And then they open the door and they trip over Randy's unconscious body.
Yeah. So yeah, Randy's dead to rights down on the ground, and right away, Redhead pops out of nowhere.
Swings his wicked blade. Totally misses.
Yeah.
Falls face first in the mud like a fucking tool immediately. Then jumps up surprisingly quick. I feel like because Terry was like, that's boring, but I also want to humiliate him. And then Richard puts the sword in his face and then just fucking, like, knocks him out.
No, it says Richard, like...
He turns the sword up.
Flat of his blade.
Smacks him with the blade.
The flat part.
Yeah.
Like, he just went like a cartoon. Like,
yeah,
boing.
Bang. He horny jailed him. Is this the origin of horny jail?
He said bonk.
He said bonk.
With his sword of truth. Yeah.
This sword of truth said bonk. What kind of dog is that?
A Shiba Inu.
Shiba Inu.
They know it, I think.
They.
I think the audience knows.
All dozen of you. You know. So yeah, Richard does his nothing personal kid. Just knocks the redhead out. Ginger's on the ground. Oh my God.
Redhead's down. Mm-hmm. And Richard basically, like, freebies Bill. He's like, tell the government all these damages they have to pay for, and tell them, I don't know, he goes through a list of, like, clever things that Bill can, like, get the government to pay
real
for.
Quick, we have a remaining quad member on the loose, but Richard's like, you know what? Here's all these tax breaks. I'm gonna fill your coffers for defending us tonight.
Which is maybe fair. He did he literally risked his life, so
they're really just driving home A, how good of a dude Richard is.
Right.
B, how he sees government spending should be done.
Yeah.
If in the service of the realm, there is no budget. Ring it up. And then he said, what? Any man that says no to you, I will personally cut off his head and put it on my brother's lawn.
Did he say that?
He did. Yeah, Richard just went off.
That's a little crazy.
And this dude was like, don't tread on Richard.
Yeah. Okay, so Richard's...
Oh, yeah. This is important, yeah.
Redhead's down on the ground. Richard did not take it upon himself to kill him. He could have, right? Like,
easy.
If he had time to bonk him on the head, I think he could have chopped his head off.
No problem.
He clearly made that choice, and I was kind of like, okay, yeah, so he's, like, getting the lesson of, like, you never know who's gonna help this and that. But then he's on the horse, and he turns to Bill, and he's like, I didn't kill him. Mm-hmm. I bonked him because... Yep. He saved Kaylin's life by slitting that man's throat. You're like, yep, yeah, I got that.
No matter how bad of a dude he is, he effectively helped us get away.
But then he goes on to say, he is guilty of murder, intent to murder, and intent to rape. I suggest you hang him before he wakes. I do not morally understand any of this.
There are a trillion questions here.
Maybe he's being strategic because he knows they have to go... So Kaylin doesn't get, like...
Yeah, my dude's delegating.
Trafficked.
I get that. Trafficked? But for real, yeah.
Yeah, but then he wouldn't say, I didn't kill him because of XYZ. He would just be like, I just didn't do it because I don't have time right now. You deal with it. He deserves to die, you deal with it. But he makes a point to be like, I didn't feel right killing him because he helped Kaylin.
Yes.
But... kill him. I'm like, what's the difference? What is the difference?
But if we sit down here and think about it for a moment, he needs to die, so that's your job.
I think that's rude as hell.
It's rude as fuck. Absolutely.
Let Bill decide. If Bill wants to kill him,
he did. He said done.
No, I know, but that's because well, and then we find out right after this, he knows Richard is the Seeker, so he's gonna do it.
He does.
Yeah. I would have just been like, up to you. You could kill him if you want, but I'm not gonna make you do that, Bill.
What? Like, why is Richard listing his crimes like Bill's unaware?
I don't know.
Yeah, sure. But I guess now he's killing him on the Seeker's authority, which gives him a lot of, like, cred.
I mean, his whole bar is filled with dead bodies right now, so I don't know
What's
if he
one more?
Right, I don't... Whatever.
How did this one get hung in the middle of the fight? Well, the Harns are tricky bastards, you know?
Yeah.
He had that magic lasso, and he just got him.
Something about it rubbed me the wrong way.
Yeah, and I think it is Richard attempting to skirt his responsibility. I think that's what it is. Now, whether or not, because he's got to run and he can't take magical, like, guilt damage right now.
Yeah.
Fair, but
yeah,
kind of a dick move. So then Bill looks up and goes, "Long life to the Seeker." Implying that, I guess, he's also a warden of some sort, right?
I don't know why everybody seems to know.
He knows the Seeker. he's clearly friends with Chase, so this makes sense. He's like a secret warden, or he's like a deep state operative where he's like hanging out with all...
No, maybe he can't... No, maybe he's from the Midlands.
That's very possible.
And then he just used like context clues to be like, that's got to be what's going on here.
So they head out on that horse towards Adie's cabin.
Yeah, and they're riding. Richard thinks about how sad he'd be if Zed died.
Yep.
And then he's like wondering what Kaylin's secret is. He's dwelling on like, is she ever going to tell me? I'm going to have to ask, and I don't want to ask.
Mm-hmm. This is that obligatory 1 to 2 paragraph Richard dwelling on his life and state of things in the beginning of chapter segments.
Yeah, I feel really conflicted because I don't totally hate getting in his head and like knowing what he's thinking and how he's thinking about things, but sometimes it also is like, yeah, I know Richard feels those things. I didn't actually need you.
If it wasn't obvious, boring, and will come up again in about 5 minutes, I wouldn't hate it. But it is really annoying when it's just like, Richard's telling you exactly the keywords for this chapter. It's like Sesame Street. Like in the beginning, he's just like, here are the things that will come up in conversation in about 3 pages.
They get to Addie's house, and they're like nearby in the area of it. Really nice writing here.
Great writing.
Did you feel that way?
Nature writing, Terry just,
It was nice atmosphere.
Yep. I had a... Rain floated down in quiet reverence for the forest. The whole place felt somehow sacred.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, it was a very nice depiction of like a misty, wet nature, like an old world, old growth. Forest.
And they said the house seemed to be growing from the forest floor, which I think is a nice image.
Yeah.
Yeah, that whole scene, like reading it through the first time and then reading it again when I did notes, I was like, this is really nice. You get some good chunks there from him.
Yeah, you really
that
do.
Are really high quality.
I agree.
Addie, he notices eventually, is standing outside the house. I feel like I don't know. Yeah. It doesn't say she's wearing a hood. But
no,
like,
I don't think she is.
No, I know, but I feel like it would like look.
Kind of. Oh yeah, like that looks great. I think that's really. No, like put it down again. I think
no,
that was right.
Addie's standing outside the house, and
looking
she's
glam.
really tall, and she's just like.
Is she serving witch right now?
Like hi.
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 Hi, witch.
What? She wouldn't say hi, witch. She's the witch.
Hi, seeker.
Yeah. Addie's standing there outside of her cabin. Hi, seeker. Hi.
That's literally how it went. It's almost verbatim. It's uncanny how good you...
So Addie's standing outside, not doing what I just did. She's looking very... she's looking really imposing.
Yeah. And tall?
It said she's really tall.
She's taller than Kaylin, not as tall as Richard.
She's wearing a simple tan robe. This is more brown.
Simple tan.
And she had some bone decorations at her neck.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
It's like ASMR. And
do you wanna give us a little
welcome to my bone cabin.
Oh my god.
Let me think.
Yeah.
You're going to be really safe in here with me and all of the bones. Did you like that?
Out.
Okay. Her hair was black and gray.
Yeah, a little gray black.
Quote, age had not stolen the handsome features of her weathered face.
Oh, shit. All right. Little mask.
Yeah, Addie's got a little something going on.
A little zhuzh, a little
and she has a crutch, and she has 1 foot. And her eyes are completely white, which, again, very cool. If not represented properly.
Yeah, we pulled that off. Would have been...
And then she says, well, she's like, asks why they're there. And Richard's like, 4 friends have come. And then she's like, I know one of you. I do not know the rest of you bitches.
Yeah, Richard tries that classic D&D, like, parlay. Just being like, just some friends in the night, stranger. She's like, I don't fucking know you
like,
guys.
One friend. Who the fuck are the rest of you?
Yeah.
Then she talks to Kaylin right after in a language that Richard does not understand.
Yeah.
And then somehow he's figuring out through context clues while listening that Adie is referring to her by title, but she's not saying Kaylin. So she's like using some sort of...
Yeah.
I don't know how you'd know that.
Because he didn't hear Kaylin or Amnel. So he's like, language dictates that names are the same no matter what. So,
Yeah, but
since I didn't hear any of her name, that must have been a reference to who she is.
I don't know. It's a stretch.
Title.
It's a stretch, but...
It's a big stretch, but he's the seeker. He's magically smarter than you. I don't know.
Richard says, in return for your help, we brought you some supplies. And what does Adie do?
Lie!
I guess I should do it.
Yeah, wait. We thought it would be really nice to bring you some supplies.
Lies.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's like
I was
that.
trying to like... Because I like just playing around with voices. I was trying to like imagine
like
it's
Jamaican.
deep and raspy.
Oh yeah.
So it's like lies, man, lies, man. I don't know, but it disturbed Richard quite a bit.
He hates this. He hates being challenged.
He hates being challenged. He hates being chastised. He hates women. He's a misogynist. No, it's not true. Richard slander. I mean, you know.
I don't know. I'm still a little mad at him because of the whole
butt slapping.
No, just like how it went down at the inn afterwards when he was like shaming Kaylin.
Yeah. I mean, he hasn't really
savvy.
Proved himself exactly. She was just.
And then he's pissy with Adie, but she's like. They go back and forth a couple of times where he's like, "I'm not lying. That's exactly what we were doing," and then she's like. It wasn't we, because it was actually just your idea, not the group's idea. Mm-hmm. Which, like, is technically true, and literally, I mean, we could just sum it up by, like, Richard's just like, you're being pedantic.
Yes.
That was his opinion. She's like, oh, but one's a lie and one's the truth. What could be more different than that?
It's night and day, bitch. And
which, again,
he was like, you're annoying as hell. And I'm like, Richard, you're annoying as hell.
Maybe they're both being annoying.
It's like when two dudes who are just being equally pedantic.
Well,
really don't like each other.
So everybody seems to think truth is like very important. It's not true. Just Richard, even though he's the sword truth man. And yes. I'm like, is this like a Midlands cultural thing? Because like Zed seems to think so. Adie seems to think so. Clearly, Richard eventually that's like going to be his entire thing. Kaylin seems to think so. Like everyone's really, really focused on this in a widespread sort of way.
Yes, I don't think that's going to be the case. I think it's just the theme. Okay. And I think it would have been a lot cooler if she did this had everyone else not done this
already gone
time.
On and on about.
So it's if she was just like weird speaking, weird bone lady who focuses on the literal truth, I would have been like, that's a cool thing for you to do when everyone else has been normal. But everyone else has been this pedantic.
Yeah, exactly.
Time.
So exactly.
So Chase was like that. Kaylin was like
everybody's
that. Zed
been
was like
doing
that.
This.
If you pinned Michael down for 5 seconds and asked him about the sausages, he would have been like that.
No, I don't think so.
No, you think it would have been like, oh, you never know what's in the sausage.
Yes, I do. I can't wait for Michael to come back. Anyway,
I have one note about the writing.
Okay.
And descriptive language is hard. Mm-hmm. And I'm not entirely going to blame Terry for this, but the editor is on full blast for this one. Within like one half of a page, we had shiver up Richard's spine, small hairs on his neck stiffened, and her fur standing on end. Like within like 1.5 paragraphs.
Yeah, that's like sloppy. So they coincide. Mm-hmm. I said in one of the other episodes that like once they mentioned her, I was like, I remember her house. And I did when I read it, I was like, I remember this. It's just bone. I mean, it's just a cabin full of bones.
Just bones. Yeah.
Just bones.
You almost like can't believe you're like, what's going to be in there? And you're like, she's the bone. There's a lot of bones.
Just a lot of bones.
It does weirdly feel like, I don't know, maybe my memory is like an underworld monster because I can't remember what's going on in that cabin until I read it.
Why the imagery of the cabin didn't pop up before you got to it?
Not till I got in there.
Oh, no.
Not at all.
I had that one filed away.
Huh.
I don't know why.
Interesting.
Guess just me and Adie have a connection. They're bringing everybody in.
Yeah.
And Adie looks at Zed and she says, who is this one? Because she knows Chase.
Oh, yeah, here we go. Do it.
And then she says like, oh, he's a wizard. Well, yeah, I guess we should act.
No,
you know
yeah,
what he's gonna say. I didn't write it exactly. What is it?
What? No, he said. She's like, "Who be this?" or something.
Who be this?
And he's like, "Oh, my friend Zedekazul Zorander."
A wizard.
So in my head, Adie goes, "Wizard!" Because it's just wizard exclamation point. Like as if this is the most horrible thing for you to drag into my home. Wizard!
Yeah, I guess you're right.
She like freaks out.
I don't know if she freaks out. It does just say wizard exclamation point. Wizard, but then Richard screams back, "My friend!" right after. Which I thought was just such a weird interaction. Okay.
Zed, wizard! My friend! Like she's about to just like execute him for being a wizard. I guess. I don't know.
I guess you're right.
Or Richard's just on high alert right now.
It says Richard yelled his anger unhinged.
Unhinged.
So
I wrote that too.
He's just like, my friend. I picture his face getting like red. He's like struggling. Okay. And so yeah, they have that, and then like she kind of calms down after because and then she like rubs his belly.
Richard's belly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she's like, "Oh, this is like righteous seeker anger." Okay. And then
everything feels like kind of convenient and kind of weird. Like he has to yell for no reason, and then she can tell him his anger is justified.
Well, yeah, she has to, but that makes sense. She has to like experience.
Yeah, write a good reason for him to yell.
So yeah, she like rubs his belly. And she gives him a little nice massage. And then she's like, "Oh yeah, this is good. I can feel all the seeker anger."
Yeah.
And she says it like to Kaylin, like, "Oh, you can trust him."
Yeah.
And then she rubs Kaylin's stomach, and
Does she?
yeah, she rubs Kaylin's belly next.
Yeah.
And she says, like, "Oh, you have the anger as well, but it is, quote, the anger of the tongue, and it is dangerous." And they have this whole
anger of the teeth.
Riddle.
Anger of the tongue.
Yeah, so then she's like, "Richard, you have, like, anger of the teeth. Kaylin, you have anger of the tongue." And she says to Richard, "What's stronger, teeth or tongue?" And then Richard's fucking annoying, and he's like, "Well, obviously teeth, so I'm picking tongue," which is really irritating.
Such a baby.
And then she's like, "You know what? You should stop using your tongue and like shut up." And then Richard actually feels embarrassed, and he's like, "I don't know why I said that."
Correct. Yep. And then Adie just then says, "To illustrate my point, I'm going to force you to do a flashback."
How?
She touches his forehead and he remembers the bar.
Right. Oh, yeah, you're
they
right.
do this whole thing again, and I'm like, I guess it's a little better than how Terry just tends to just be like, "Oh, Richard now is suddenly thinking of all these things. At least someone forced him to do it." And that was my thought. I was like, all right, she's got cool magic, bone magic, weird magic. But then immediately it goes into Kaylin showing off her thing. And I'm like, the only reason she made this plot device, which Terry has no problem having Richard have these flashbacks all the time. They're in the text in every chapter.
Right.
Richard will just like in the middle of like a word stop and remember an entire scenario that you just read.
That's true.
And then be like, "I have the answer again."
Okay.
So then Adie actually forces him to have a flashback only so that Kaylin can get upset, grab her hand, and threaten her with her magic.
If I give him the benefit of the doubt, I would say he wanted to illustrate that Richard was being so like stubborn and not open-minded that he couldn't put together the connection between the inn and like, I get what you're saying. It could have just been like, "Oh, Richard remembered," but then that would imply that Richard made the connection himself,
which he didn't do.
Which I think we're supposed to say like he was being really stubborn and he didn't do that. But like thematically, Richard was being a huge dick, like we just said, about Kaylin doing what she did at the inn.
Yeah.
And which is why I said I was mad at him. Mm-hmm. And so now it's like showing Addie's being like, "No, that is a strength. You're being ridiculous."
Okay.
Right.
Yeah. So hammering home.
Richard still doesn't get it.
He's
like struggling to see this.
Gotcha.
Because he's a naive boy.
Fair. The power of the tongue.
Yeah. And then... yeah, Kaylin does. Addie's touching him for the memory, and then Kaylin's like, "Get off of him." Mm-hmm. Because...
And that's a real threat because we don't know Addie's power level. We assume it's high based on the way Kaylin's acting.
Yeah.
But Kaylin grabbing her arm, Adie is like shook a little.
Yeah.
She's like, sorry. Yeah, that was a lot. I shouldn't have done that.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, because that's an auto kill.
Mm-hmm.
That's I will just turn you off right now. It's all over.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know why Richard's picking up on other language, calling her by, like titles, but like he's not like, her touch seems to be related to her power. Like,
I don't think I would have picked it up. I'm gonna be real. I don't think I would have necessarily picked it up.
From like change in demeanor? Or you think it would have just been like can you please not touch him? Sort of like, she's just being respectful.
Yeah.
Relaxing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like, clearly Kaylin's important. Like, maybe she's like a princess. I don't know. And
True.
like,
yeah, at that
you
point,
just don't want to like insult her. I don't know that I would have put that together. Although Richard's always putting together.
Well, that's kind of
all
what I mean.
sorts of
This is
crazy
the magical putting it together, dude. So
then Adie like makes this little mouth metaphor where she's like, teeth and tongue got to work together. That makes them the most powerful. And you're like, yeah, that makes sense.
Teeth and tongue allow you to speak.
Right.
Which is how you tell the truth. Can't be telling the truth without words.
True.
Or not. I don't know.
I don't know if that's true.
Yeah.
Like sign language. I don't know.
Does it exist in this world?
I'm sure. And then we kind of get like a little bit of magic mechanic lore.
Okay.
Where they're like, I didn't write down who. I'm assuming Richard's asking what kind of magic do wizards have? Do they have mouth or tongue?
So yeah, there's the magic of the teeth and magic of the tongue, which is only just two types of many magics.
Yeah.
Wizards have all magic except that of the underworld.
Right. Impressive.
Yeah.
And then they're like, Dark and Raw has underworld magic, but like, so he's got all the wizard powers and all
underworld powers.
So that seems like all the powers, right?
Well, and then of course, because this would be nice, Richard's like, I wonder what kind of power the Bone Woman have, but I didn't ask.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I would like to know.
I would like to know.
And I don't think we're getting
Yeah,
that
I don't
answer.
think so either. Judging by when I Googled the Bone Woman, I didn't look, like, I was pretty careful not to, like, I didn't go on the wiki or anything.
You didn't spoil yourself.
No, but I did. Well, what I'll say is, like, it didn't seem like there was that much. And once again, absolutely no fan art of this woman. So that made me think, usually that's an indication that a character is, like, not that important. But maybe that's not true.
Well, so there
for
is,
sort of truth.
As I keep saying, the novella Dead of Bones. And I think it is about Adie and Zed meeting in the far distant past. I believe.
Did they have a romance?
I don't know.
No, wait, that doesn't make sense because she doesn't know who he is.
Well, she says wizard, so she knows he's a wizard.
But she does say first. She first says, like, "Who the hell is this?"
True. So here's my question, right? We've illustrated in the past that there is no magic in the Westlands.
Yes.
So Adie walked across this boundary from the Midlands.
She's like clearly doing it all the time, yeah.
And that's not weird, right? Because she's clearly transversing enough that she loses her foot. But, like, she's in and out of this boundary all the time. So she came from the Midlands. A while ago, at least.
Mm-hmm.
So she should not know who Zed is. Because Zed's spell affected everyone that would know him in the Midlands.
But maybe she was in Westland when he did that.
Maybe.
Right?
No, because he came to the Westlands.
Oh, wait, maybe that's why. Maybe they did have a romance, and then that's why she doesn't know him, because he's been wiped from her memory.
Maybe. Wow.
Right?
Wow.
Yeah, that's what I'm going with.
Zed's the type of dude that would romance someone and just be like, yeah, include her in the mind wipe. It's okay.
I don't know that he had a choice. He was, like, just doing it in a hurry.
I'm not protecting her.
I don't think it was serious.
I don't care to remember that memory.
I don't think it was that serious. That's, But yeah, that would be cute.
It would be cute.
Yeah, so then she tells Kaylin that she has never used the power of the tongue, which is interesting and confusing because, like, when she's saying that, I'm thinking it's just, like, really metaphorical. But then when they're talking about wizards, I'm like, okay, no, this is, like, more concrete. But I think Kaylin must know what she's talking about. Turns out that's not true. Kaylin doesn't seem to know what she's talking about. And they have this conversation about, like, how Kaylin's mother died when she was a child, and she was like never able to teach her how to use this particular type of magic.
Yeah.
And then she asks Adie, like, hey, can you teach me? And she's like, no, sorry. If she dies before you're a teenager, that's that.
Kind of screwed. Yeah.
Yeah, but then she's like, but just because she didn't teach you, like, doesn't make it go away. So, like, you still have it, and it might still come out, but you don't know how to use it, so that'll suck. Just be careful.
Great advice, yeah.
But yeah, that sucks. That's bad news.
So, when she flashed back to the bar and talked about the scenario, that wasn't the magic of the tongue?
That's what I'm so confused by.
So she's just using her tongue, but not the magic of the tongue?
No, yes, exactly, because that seemed to imply, like, magic of the tongue. Oh, being charismatic, talking your way out of things, being diplomatic.
Okay, maybe you have this power of the tongue, and there's, like, an untapped well of it that
there
you
must be,
haven't
like, some
touched.
other level to that, which I would assume would be, like, if you tell people to do something, you can, like, literally make them do it or something.
Sure, like
right?
some sort of, like, psychic command.
Yeah.
As far as I'm aware, I don't think we ever get into that.
She doesn't do that?
And I don't think teeth
Are you
magic
sure?
ever comes up again. I don't know. Oh, maybe that is
Right.
the part that she learns.
That's what I was gonna
I just
say.
think of them as one power now.
No,
so
I
maybe...
think they're different. Because at some point she is able to just tell people what to do, and they do it.
Yes.
So maybe right now, does she not know how
Maybe
to do
she
that?
just mind wipes them or something. But he helped fight in the fight.
I'm confused.
Feels weird.
So then Kaylin asks Adie if she knew her mom.
Yeah.
And Addie's like, yep. And Kaylin's like, I thought so, because she had a bone necklace that she gave to me. I don't know. Again, like what, is this the only one with bones in the world?
The only one with bones. It had the red and yellow motif
I guess
she
so.
was wearing.
Yeah,
so
that
she was
is
like,
why.
it looks like my bone necklace. And she's like, I made the bone necklace, of course.
Yeah, so she says, I gave your mom the bone necklace when she was pregnant with you.
Yeah.
And then Kaylin's like, I loved the bone necklace, but I gave it to my sister.
Denny.
Somebody said that it's just literally like as straightforward a pronunciation as possible. So that makes me think it's just Denny.
Dennee. Denny.
I'm just going to say Denny.
Denny.
She buried Denny in this bone necklace because Denny liked it. But then
How
she
big was that
also
bone necklace?
drops, quote, the girl I called my sister.
Yes.
So that means that Denny's not her biological sister. So now I want to know that backstory.
Yeah. So then Richard can't help but be annoying.
Yep.
And just right away, it's just like, I don't know if you can see, bitch, because you're clearly blind with your milky white eyes. But my friend Zed here is not doing well. So maybe if you can fix him at any point.
Yeah, why would he say perhaps you cannot see? Like, ew. Sometimes Richard's really annoying.
He's a piece of garbage sometimes. And that, like, what are you doing, man? You're coming in this woman's house out alone in the woods. She got 1 foot.
Right.
And you're like, all right.
I know you might
need to do this for me now.
Also, when Richard's saying his little, like, making his little blind woman jabs, it says Addie's white eyes regarded him with strained tolerance.
Yeah.
Rude. She says, Richard, you're keeping a secret from Kaylin. Kaylin, you're keeping a secret from Richard. Zed's keeping secrets from everybody.
Yeah.
And then Richard's like, okay, well, which of these secrets do you know, Adie? And Adie says that she only knows...
Real quick, do you happen to know what my secret is?
Yeah, she's like...
that'd be bad.
I only know Kaylin's secret, which... Okay, yeah, we know she knows that.
Yeah.
That's been established. And they pivot to talking about Zed and Chase, and she's like, actually, they've been healing since they came inside my cabin. And...
it's already working. I've already applied the solve, Richard.
Right.
Yeah.
And it may take them days to wake up. So the main concern is just that they don't, like, get dehydrated. The reason that Zed is breathing so badly is because wizards have, like, a special, like special stasis mode they go into when they're very injured, where they, like, slow down all their, like, processes to, like, preserve energy.
Yeah.
Which is, like, that's a cool...
It's a cool
thing to have. So then they kind of do this, like, spell...
Okay.
to wake Chase and Zed up, like in like a zombified state, to just like drink water. And she's like, they're not gonna be able to talk to you, they're not actually awake, they're just like we're just going to do this to get them to drink water every couple of hours. And so...
Does she need a special
she
instrument to perform such a spell?
Yes, and so she has, a special bone rattle that is covered in leather that she uses for her chants and her spells.
Did somebody say leather?
And I'm so glad that we had this belt.
Yeah, this belt is doing more work.
I don't know if you guys are familiar with this belt, but that's what we made this bone.
So I made this bone wand prop. There we go. It took a while. It's quite well made.
Yeah, so she's on the ground. Richard's there, ready to give him water. She's...
Yeah, just doing some stereotypical magic bone lady shit.
I kind of feel weird.
Yeah, you got the bone necklace. You wanna say some stuff in foreign languages? I don't know.
No, I'm just rattling the bone. Keep it real simple. I'm a lady wearing a bone, and I got a rattle.
Made
you
of
can't.
bones.
What can you make of it? Not much,
No,
right?
you're right?
You don't know anybody who did this. It's just a witch in this one book.
That's it. Nobody's ever done this. It's filled with dried eyeballs.
Yeah, human or
Shit's just
animal.
gross.
Who
We
knows?
don't know. And then just like Zed wakes up. And he says, "Give me beer." That's the good shit, Richard.
That's how the scene went.
Yep. It's literally it. And then we did it again for Chase. So,
Yeah, but for real, I actually thought this scene was kind of creepy.
it was creepy. And
Right?
her cabin is creepy.
Her cabin's creepy. The idea of them, like, I don't know, it is creepy to be like, oh, they're waking up, but they're, like, not there, and they're doing things creepy.
Yeah.
We're glad they got liquids in them. They were given some liquid IV, Pedialyte, who knows
Yeah.
what she's got in that
Got a little
cabin.
banana bag slapping it on him. Yep.
And then they cover them up in bones. They just stack, she's like, stack the bones up, stack them.
Fucking cover these people in bones.
They cover them up.
They should have kept Zed's fried chicken bones and just
No,
tossed
it's
them
not
on top.
it's not underworld beast bones.
You don't know. Where did that chicken come from? They live near the boundary.
You think Chase brings home underworld
That's
chickens?
what I'm saying. He's probably like, I shouldn't be eating them, but the breasts are huge and I love big breasts.
Adie, for whatever reason, asks Richard if he can cook, and he's
Yeah.
like, I can. I love making spice soup. It's my favorite.
It's the only food that exists in this world besides sausage. So,
Sausage, apples, and spice soup all
That's
the
it.
way. And
is
so,
there biblical imagery tied to spice soup that you can think of?
I don't know if they ate, how much soup they ate in the Bible. Not
I can't even
familiar.
make a joke, I don't think.
No
that it
idea. Yeah, I
happens.
can't make a connection there. Do you want me to Google Bible soup?
Bible soup. That's going to give you a weird one. Chicken soup for the soul, Bible edition, probably.
What
Tell
does
me what you got.
what does the Bible say about soup?
Holy shit, guys, we're here.
Okay.
Tell me.
Genesis 25:30, and Esau said to Jacob, "Let me eat some of that red stew, for I am exhausted."
Let me eat some of that red stew. It doesn't say that.
Yes, it does.
Some of that?
That's what it says. That's what openbible.info says.
Wow. Some of that red stew. Red stew is not quite soup. It could be chili.
Jacob gave Esau bread and lentil stew.
All right, now we're getting close. Lentil stew is kind of soupy.
It's always Esau. He loves soup and I don't care. Okay. Enough. Richard commits to
Yep.
the spice soup. Okay. And then Adie, I don't know why I said Adie. So then Adie and Kaylin
Yep.
start, they're talking in their little language. They're
Yep.
kikiing on the floor.
I don't know what that means.
I don't care.
Richard's ratatouilleing. They're kikiing, whatever that means.
Yeah. And Richard's feeling good.
Yeah.
When he's chopping his veg, they're chatting. He's like, you know what? Somebody's healing my friends. They're not going to die.
Yeah, for the first time in a while, things feel okay.
I'm going to eat some soup. Nobody died. So he feels good. Then he's like, oh, they're having such a nice conversation. I should let them keep going with that.
Yeah, let them chat it out.
And so then he's like, oh, do you want me to go chop some firewood for you, old lady with one foot? And she's like, yes. And so then Richard goes outside and he just immediately strips, shirtless.
So here's that thing. There's that guy on TikTok, right?
What? Oh, the one that chops the logs?
The hot guy who chops the logs?
Yeah.
That's how I imagine this whole scene
Me
went.
too.
Richard just fucking like, I'm going to tear this... ripping logs in half for like hours.
Yeah. And but while he's doing it, he is worrying about Michael. He's thinking about Michael.
He is worried about his brother.
He's concerned.
He starts picturing various heads as the logs.
Yes, he does. He imagines the wood is dark and raw.
Yep.
He imagines it's Agar.
Agar. Just Agar.
He imagines it's the red-haired guy from
Which,
the inn.
by this point, is already hung. So, seems kind of silly.
Like, you could have done that yourself, sir.
Yeah, there's no... Maybe he's, like, regretting not doing it.
Maybe, yeah.
Maybe he's kind of like, I should have killed him. I should kill the Gar. I should definitely kill Dark and Raw. And that redhead, I wish I had done it, but I didn't do it. He's getting his frustrations out of it.
He's building up to, like, being like, I am going to kill someone.
Yeah.
Who's his first kill going to be?
We'll find out. I think it's probably that hot Daharan.
The quad guy?
Yeah, the quad guy,
probably. Yeah, he's out there. He's chopping. He's shirtless. Mm-hmm. And then before he goes in, he pours a bucket of water on him.
My guy knows what the fuck he's doing. He's like, in case any of y'all readers were interested in my sweaty body, here you go.
We're interested.
He's going to glisten up.
When he goes back inside, Addie's like, oh, you gave me a great gift, Richard.
Yeah.
You let me speak in my native tongue with a friend. Something like that.
Yeah.
And then she says, you're a very perceptive man. You are a true seeker. So I guess, his, like, kindness was the thing that, like, I get it. Yeah, he was really annoying up until this point. So I could see she was like, oh, this is the good part of you.
Yes. Your perceptiveness, your emotionality, and how you can actually help people by taking yourself out of the equation.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, definitely. And then he's like, well, you're helping my friends, so you gave me a great gift.
And then she's like, so it's going to take them a while to wake up. You planning on hanging out here, or are you guys going to leave them? But she was very specific about, like, Richard, you have to decide. Yeah. And then he's like, since we're on, like, a prophecy time schedule, every day we don't do this is bad, so we should go. Correct.
And right.
Yeah.
Rightly so.
And then Terry loves a cliffhanger. The chapter...
He can't not hang you off the cliff.
Yeah, the chapter ends with, I'll tell you how I lost my foot. That's Adie.
Yeah.
And to be fair, I don't care that much.
I didn't give
like, it's a bad cliffhanger. I don't care how Adie lost her foot.
I assumed the boundary.
There's so many ways that she could... And the fact that it ends up just being, like, it was a big bug. It's like, yeah, it's like not interesting.
Fucking rodent just bit my foot off. Okay, cool. Like,
so on we go to chapter 17. And I kind of feel general annoyance at chapter 17.
How come?
Because, okay, I get it. Like, it makes sense that they would go to the lady who's like, I know about the underworld and get all the tips and tricks. But I'm like, Adie, it's chapter 17 is just Adie being like, here's what's going to happen when you go
next chapter
through. Yeah, this is what's going to happen when you guys go through the
You're right.
past.
You're totally right.
And it's like, okay, but now I know.
Can we just let us go through the past?
It's like hard because I guess it doesn't make sense, right? For it to be believable, this is a dilemma. For it to be believable that it's really hard to get through here. Yeah. And that's why people aren't doing it all the time. And to, like, really get that across, it wouldn't make sense for them to just be able to do it without any research. Yeah. But at the same time, when the research just is... have a whole chapter of somebody being like, this happens, this happens, this happens, this happens. Here's what you should do. And I know. And the next chapter 18 and 19, I'm just going to be like, I know. Yeah.
Then this happened. And then this happened.
I know Adie told me.
And they did what she told her.
Adie told me.
Yeah. Adie already.
Exactly what to expect.
Here's the blueprint for the next couple of chapters. Yeah, no, I and what sucks is, like, that doesn't have to be that way. And you could even, like, throw a curveball when you do this. Adie could be like, "This is what you need to do," and then they get there and like everything's
different.
different.
We don't know yet.
We don't know, but
that's not
we have
the case.
good evidence that it's been
probably
this way.
not. I'm curious to see. Obviously, something's gonna happen that's gonna like kind of make it not that clean cut as what Adie said. Like, there's gonna be a problem, something.
Obviously.
But I'm curious how much it diverts from this and how much I'm gonna be like, I know, Adie told me.
I'm pretty sure I know what the fucking problem is, but we'll see. We'll see.
Well, she's like, okay, you guys are living, and the beasts are not, and they're gonna hunt you. And then they're like, what beasts? And then she's like, oh, hello, look at all the bones.
Yeah, these beasts.
Right.
These beasts. Yeah.
So then they kind of get into, okay, the reason that I'm safe here is because the bones, like, make it so they can't track me because they just feel the energy of the bones and not me, a living creature.
Yeah.
Richard's like, oh, I see. So we're going to like wear bones to get through, which makes sense. Okay, great. And then she's like, gives Kaylin a bone necklace, which Kaylin's very emotional to receive because it's like the one she gave her mom.
Correct.
And Richard's like, well, what about me? And then she's like, hey, dumbass, you have one already.
You got a big bone already.
Yeah, and then they clarify that, and it makes sense. That is why the underworld tendrils could not locate him.
Correct.
And I do think it's interesting, though. So then, like, Kaylin and Richard have been doing life, walking around wearing underworld monster bones on a necklace for most of their life, and both have been... That is connected in some way to, like, the burden of their responsibilities.
Good point.
Right? That's like some soulmate shit right there. So then we get like some practical stuff. Can't take the horses, can't wander from the trail, obviously.
It takes a day and a night and a day.
Yeah, and you cannot sleep. You cannot sleep for like, what is that, like 48 hours?
Like, come on, Adie, can't we take a little snooze?
No.
Can't we just take a little bit of snooze in the
so.
boundary near the underworld? Why, Adie? Why? And Addie's like, I'll tell you why.
Yeah, so then she tells a story about how... Because she's like back and forth all the time. So she's gotten real confident about being in there.
She's like, maybe I can close my eyes.
Tries to take a little nap. Some sort of like hybrid armadillo leech
called a gripper
comes along and is like on her leg. Yep. And then she's like, oh, the only thing I can do, I can't get this thing off. So she like puts her leg on a stump and chops it off.
127 hours. Here we go.
It's just like certain things are, again, it's like, I get it because Richard is just being a naive boy. And he's like, oh man, it really upset me to think about how strong you'd have to be to chop your own foot off. And it's like, yeah, like everybody feels that way.
Yeah. If this was the first time I've heard of someone cutting off their own limb, maybe I'd be like, wow.
I can't imagine.
He really empathizes.
It is for him.
No, he's a fucking woods guy.
That's what I mean.
People had to have been amputated around him at some point.
Yeah.
No one got caught out in the woods like in the winter, and we had to take his like fingers off.
Halfway through, there's a place called the Narrows, where the boundary walls are very close, almost touching, and you're gonna know you're there because there's gonna be a rock the size of her house that is split down the middle. You have to go in the middle of the rock. You can't go around the sides. Okay. And the dead are gonna call to you. You're gonna see them the same way Richard did when he went in there. Kaylin asks Adie, like, are the dead that are calling for us real? And even Addie's like, I have no idea. And she does this all the time. So she's like, I really don't know. Maybe they're real. Maybe they're not. Could be. Richard says, how are we going to see? We have to stay on the path. How will we see the path? I assume it's dark. And then Adie gives him this like magical item. He gets like this rock.
He gets an
shaped like an egg.
Uncommon magical light stone called a night stone. It's a night stone, and the spot where it's really narrow to go through is called the Narrows. We've got a night stone in the Narrows. Yeah, so the night stone is going to give him light, and conveniently, this is something Zed can track. Yeah, it's very convenient. Yep. So he can find them later. Which, to be fair, the tracker cloud was stuck on something magical, so Zed, I assume, can do similar magic.
I guess he's good. Yeah, this is his thing.
There's the precedent. Well, no, wizards can just do this because Darkenrahl was tracking Richard with the cloud based on some sort of magical item.
Okay.
Yeah, so
when I should mention when Adie gives Kaylin the bone necklace, she says it will protect her and her future child. So then I have a question about this. Clearly, Adie knows that Kaylin's a confessor, and I would assume she knows what like the limits of a confessor's like what a confessor can and can't do culturally. Yeah. So you've been saying like she can't have sex, it's impossible. So why would Adie say this? Why would she not? She would know that if confessors can't.
She can have sex, but when she takes a mate, she kills them. It's like a praying mantis situation.
So, well, I want to know.
She steals seed, basically.
So Addie's being like, when you murder some man to steal his semen, you will have a necklace to protect the child.
Correct. Yeah, which is how
do
all
the confessors do
reproduce.
that?
Yeah, that's how they do it.
Oh.
Yeah.
Was her mom a confessor?
Yeah.
Oh.
Kaylin's the product of this. Rape-a-palooza, magic death. I don't know.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I want to know culturally, was it like
they mentioned this earlier. It was Shar, I think, said it when they were like, "Is he your mate?" Or like they used like a technical term for it, and she was like, "No, like I would never do that to him. I like him."
I'm just trying to understand. Like, is this something where like men are being like kidnapped to like be in this role? Are men like offering themselves to do this?
Yeah,
I
don't know if it's like
that's
an
what
honor type thing.
Yeah, that's what I'm
intrigued by. Or
intrigued
are they doing it
by.
to prisoners, or is it like, you know?
But would you really want the mother confessor giving birth to a prisoner's baby?
Like, I don't know.
That doesn't seem right. That doesn't seem right.
I don't think Terry would do that.
No, I think that the men go willingly.
We'll see.
That's my prediction. They settle in by the fire for the night. Richard pets Zed's head for a little while.
Yes, he does.
Which is cute.
Yeah, it's cute.
Again, I like how physically affectionate everybody in this universe is. Even Kaylin and Adie have been like hugging and like holding hands. It's true. Kaylin and Richard have a little cozy fireplace chat. And she's like, I hope you didn't feel forced to decide to leave Zed and Chase because of when they were on the little island in the swamp. She was like, don't be a little bitch later. Yeah,
leave them. We must leave them.
And he's like, no, but you know,
yeah, it's a little dubious because kind of.
Yeah, and so then we get this like little horny moment.
Very horny.
Quote: he could see a vein in her neck pulsing with her heartbeat.
Oh.
He thought that she had the most delicious looking neck he had ever seen. Sometimes she looks so beautiful, he could hardly stand to look at her, and at the same time, could not look away.
My boy.
Well, the second, like that last sentence is pretty generically
correct.
Like, oh, beautiful girl. But it's really...
It coasts back into innocence, but that
right,
was...
it's starting to get...
That was some vampirism.
That's what I'm saying. Literally, this is like Richard
I can see that heart rate in your neck, and I just wanted to...
Vampire core,
the most
Richard.
Delicious neck?
Richard was going... I don't know. He was going somewhere mentally.
Maybe the Bone Woman's magic had something to do with it. Richard's thinking about bones.
Well, he's like getting influenced by the beasts of the underworld.
That's, you know.
I don't think that's what it is. Maybe.
I don't know.
Maybe it's, yeah. Man, I don't know. I don't know.
It can if you're laying on the side.
Ugh.
And you're a very skinny heroine of a story. Like, it might just like...
Yeah, Richard's getting beastly over there. Yeah. He's ready to chomp down on
Honestly,
the neck.
It's about fucking time. And you know what caused it? Chopping all that wood. He got the blood flowing.
Yeah, could be.
He was horning out for all the girls on TikTok. And then when he came in, he's like, it's time to bone for real.
You think Richard would have a log splitting TikTok?
Absolutely. And like a spice soup tutorial for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, he'd be like, oh my god, yeah, it would be like Wood's Guide TikTok. I'd subscribe.
It's for the log splitting though.
Mostly, yeah.
What would be his username?
Okay, Heartland
Heartland Heartthrob? Is that good?
Yeah, Heartland Heartthrob, or like Heart of the Land.
Heart of the Land. What about the other Rawl? I'm gonna make this.
That's good.
The other Rawl.
The other Rawl. I like. Well, he doesn't know that yet. So right now
Kaylin
it would be
could
all
Confessor Mommy.
Mommy Confessor.
Mommy Confessor, yeah.
That's really clever. Mommy Confessor.
Just said mommy instead of mother. I'm honestly a Rhodes Scholar.
What would Adie be?
Narrow's mommy.
Okay. So Richard has his little moment staring at her neck, and then Kaylin's like, we get a tone switch because she's like, I don't think I'm gonna live long enough to have a child. And Richard realizes, like, oh, she thinks I'm gonna die, and she thinks
she's gonna die.
She thinks we're just gonna die, and
we might survive, but like we might achieve our goal, but we're probably
dying.
Yeah.
So like he's like, oh, she is so burdened by the idea that she's like bringing me to die, which
that's sweet though
for sure. And then. But then Richard's like, he seems like a little upset about that realization, but then he's like thinking back on Shar and everything, and he's like, oh, well, they said I was definitely going to die if I didn't do this.
Correct. Yeah.
So who really gives a shit? At least I'll like, this is the better option.
Yeah, exactly.
And then, God, there's a speech. I did write the whole thing down.
Why did you do it?
I don't know. It seemed like maybe it was important characterization. I wrote the whole thing.
I just wrote, he gives a little speech. I wrote LIL speech.
I wrote the whole thing.
You want to read it? The whole thing?
I feel like you should. Like, you should, like, act it out as Richard, but...
how do you want me to do that?
If I send this to you, will you, like...
Can you go paste it in my episode 11 doc?
Okay. I'm... pretend... I guess...
Richard
Pretend I'm Kaylin.
Adie.
No, I'm Kaylin.
This is the speech you're talking about. Not the second speech to Adie on the next page.
No, I didn't write that.
Thank God.
Oh, okay.
That was the little speech. I add my oath of protection to the bone. Fuck, all right.
Oh, wait, so, like, this actually kind of works, because she's also wearing a bone necklace.
I add my oath of protection to the bone. To you now, and to any child you may bear in the future. I would trade no day I spend with you for a life of safe slavery. I accepted the post of seeker of my own free will. And if Darken Rahl takes the whole world into madness, then we will die with a sword in our hands, not chains on our wings. We will not allow it to be easy for them to kill us. They will pay a high price. We will fight with our last breath, if need be. And in our death, let us inflict a wound on him that will fester until it claims him. It's a charming little speech.
It's kind of, she's like, oh, for some reason, even you describing how I'm going to die made me feel better. And I was like, honestly,
I feel that.
Same. Like, that would make me feel better, too.
Yeah, I fuck with that.
It's a good speech. No, I did not write the whole speech he gives Adie about what to say to Chase.
Very similar to the speech that fucking he gives to Bill.
I know.
I don't know why we did it again. Richard just can't stop speeching.
And then Kaylin, after he gives that speech, Kaylin's like, Darken Rahl has reason to lose sleep knowing that this seeker is after him.
Slay.
If he were after me, I'd be stressed out. Something like that.
Yeah.
And... yeah, she feels better. Great. Good job.
Somewhere into hard, Darken Rahl popped 2 Ambients and a Xanax to go to sleep that night.
Because he could.
Quaking in his boots.
Yep.
A real seeker's out there making threats.
And they wake up.
Yep.
Richard, basically, the other speech we were talking about. Richard asks Adie to tell Chase to go back when Chase wakes up. He has to go back and tell Michael, like, oh, the boundary's going down. Get the armies ready. The army's got to fight against Darken Rahl. And then clearly, it's interesting because Richard has been very, like, thinking about Michael a lot throughout the chapters in a positive way.
Oh, yeah.
But he does add a caveat of, like, if Michael doesn't agree or doesn't do this, tell Chase that he's okay to go against Michael and take the boundary wardens and, like, you guys as the Seeker, I'm telling you, you protect
Yeah.
the Westlands against Dark and Rawl. Fuck Michael. So that means...
Yeah, pretty wild.
That means Richard does have a nugget of doubt.
Well, he's just saying, my brother has this wishy-washiness about him, and this is too serious.
I think it's showing that, like...
You think he's starting to wake up a little?
No, I think it's been there the whole time. It's just that Richard's always, like, trying to give people the benefit of the doubt.
Which he can't afford to do anymore.
Which, exactly. And now he's saying, like, I'm still going to do that, but I have to be honest and be like, maybe it's not
I'll
good.
give him a chance to act correctly,
yeah, exactly.
But I will have a contingency plan because I don't fully expect him to.
Right.
Yeah.
And then he says, basically, like, after that's all settled, Chase, you can come help find me in the Midlands and, like, help me if you want, but, like, you don't have to. It's, like, up to him.
Yeah.
Which seems fair.
It is.
Right.
It's nice.
And
He's
then
definitely going to show up, but yeah.
He says to tell Michael he loves him and misses him, which is sweet because it's like, you know, now that he does kind of have a sense that maybe Michael's not a good guy, but he still has that little, like, family love.
That's, the familial brother love.
And then tells Ed sorry that he left and to come find him. And then Adie says, strength to the Seeker, and you too, child. Grim times lie ahead.
Yeah. It's a good line.
Yeah. And that's the end of the chapter.
16 and 17, down.
Yeah, they were fine. Like I said, I liked 16 better.
Me too. And yeah, it's more so that did 17 ruin all our fun coming up? That's the problem.
Well, I'll find out. I'll find out tonight.
I'll find out in a week and a half.
I think everything will be business as usual, like as far as me posting stuff, but we are going on vacation soon. Mm-hmm. When this is uploaded, fingers crossed, I will have everything edited and ready and, like, scheduled. So this will upload, in fact, while I am not here. Correct. And that will work.
That's the goal.
Okay, guys, we're gonna I was gonna shout out everybody who comments a lot, but it's actually, like, a lot of people.
It's a lot, and we want to say something special. So
this episode's already, like,
it's long,
way longer than we thought it was going to be.
Yeah, we chug-a-lugged.
So what we're gonna do is we're just gonna pick one person to give special shout outs to at the end of each episode. This is completely random, so don't take there's no order of events here going on. Just
snagging one of our friends and giving them a little shine, you know?
Yeah. So today's shout out is Cynthia Sec. Woo! Cynthia.
Woo!
Cynthia, you've been here, I feel like, from the beginning.
The very beginning.
I think you came from Reddit. Tell me if I'm right. But your comments are always very nice. Super sweet.
And almost always first.
Like, I know,
I don't know how you do it. You're like on
top of this shit.
You must have rung the bell or something, because she's right there.
I know. No Super stress.
Lovely. Yeah, no, don't.
But I do kind of, like, expect it.
Wow.
Like, no, not like that. Not like that.
It's your job now to please us on the comments.
Much. No, I do. I'm like, I upload and I'm like, I know at least Cynthia will comment.
I know. And they're really always very sweet comments.
They're so nice.
Just thoughtful and...
Very thoughtful. You always have something to say, like, specific about... Now I feel like I'm, like, critiquing people. Like, I'm being like, here's how you write a good comment. It's not what I intend to do. But I don't know.
Listen, some people need lessons, but not Cynthia.
Who are you referring to?
Yeah, there's some randos.
Not anybody that comments
No one we're going to shout out.
Maybe we should do, like... Yeah, we should do a shaming shout out too.
Ooh, maybe.
Should I do it now?
Yeah.
Well, I don't want to take away from Cynthia's moment by being rude.
Cynthia, why don't you tell us if you want us to shame other people?
Yeah, okay.
And then maybe next episode.
That's a good idea.
If you like the idea.
I want Cynthia to decide.
Lambasting them.
Should I make fun of people who are being rude in the comments?
It's up to you.
Again, I feel like I'm manipulating people right now.
That's how this works.
I don't like it. Well, I'm not trying to manipulate you, Cynthia. If you are stressed one day and you don't want to write a comment...
If you want to be a Terry Goodkind influencer, this is how you have to behave.
No, if you're stressed one day and you don't leave a comment, I will live, I promise.
But the sword of truth's coming for you, so I don't know what to say.
Anyway, yeah. So I have my list. I know who's coming next.
She's not going to tell me. She's gonna surprise me with it. It's okay. It's all right.
Yeah, so we'll be back soon. More shout outs to come.
Guys, we love you.
We love you.
Thanks for watching.
Wait,
Thanks for listening. Thanks for rattling your bones with us. And honestly, we'll see you next time.